a company, Gujarat Borosil, that's on our radar because there is talk of some sort of anti-dumping duty on toughened, coated and uncoated glass. Gujarat Borosil, we understand, is a beneficiary of this. Shreevar Kheruka, the company's management, joins in now. Thanks a lot, Mr. Kheruka, for joining in. First up, if you tell us, how much does this contribute to your current revenues and what exactly is the quantum of the anti-dumping duty which is proposed?
So solar glass contributes almost 85% of our revenues, and going forward, it'll probably be 100%. The anti-dumping duty has been recommended by the Ministry of Commerce, and we hope to get it notified that the Ministry of Finance will notify it soon. The quantum is different depending on different suppliers from China. So it varies from, I think the lowest is about 11% to the highest will be about 30%. So it's not exorbitant. It's the government's effort to create somewhat of a level playing field, because the Chinese companies get export subsidies which we don't enjoy in India. So with this, certainly we'll have more of a level playing field than before in this industry.
All right, Shreevar, thanks so much for joining in. So we get that then, in fact, as you told us, about 85% of the revenues coming in from the solar space. Shreevar, but what is the current price differential between a domestic producer like you and the quantity that was being imported? Is there a big price difference? I ask you this because I want to know whether or not you can go ahead and increase prices, or will it just be your offtake that will be increased?
So the actual idea is not to increase prices. The idea is that we were being forced to reduce prices beyond even the cost of production, because the Chinese were getting they get, I'm told, a 17% export subsidy, in addition to other, very cheap loans and other benefits, which are in addition to the 17%. So with a duty of, say, between 11 and 30%, depending on different manufacturers, this now kind of negates that, at least a percentage of that benefit that the Chinese are getting. So certainly, I don't think price increases is anything we're talking about, but certainly the offtake will increase. It'll help us invest more and double our capacity going forward.
So in that case, if you could tell us the expected increase in offtake, you said you could double your capacities. What kind of impact that would have on your revenue?
So just to give you a fairly astounding metric, we in India installed, I think, somewhere between 6 and 7 gigawatts of solar modules last year. And I think 85 to 90% of them were imported from China. That means, in spite of having a huge demand, I mean, we are, I think, the number 3 country in the world in terms of solar module installations per year, we have not yet been able to establish a dominant local industry. And that's primarily because of the dumping from China. And this is not true just in India, but even Europe, the European Union, the United States, Turkey, all these countries have put anti-dumping duty on Chinese manufacturers. So Indian industry is only getting 10% of the demand, and 90% is actually being imported. And that's also unfair, because it's not like to like, we're as cost competitive as the Chinese. So the issue is that going forward, I think that 10%, if it becomes 20%, then certainly we can double our capacities.
All right. Shreevar, you're talking about your capacities. What is your current capacity utilization, if you could help us out with that? So, and last year, FY17 was more or less a flattish year. This year, can we see some growth coming in there? Your margins as well, last year we did see a bit of an expansion. So does FY18 look much better?
So again, we are running at virtually 85% capacity utilization towards solar, and 15% is for other. Now, the other are lower value added, so we'll go to 100% solar. And going forward, we need to put in about another 200 odd crores for doubling our capacity, which is something that we are in the market to raise funds for. And with that, I think our revenues, not this year, but the next year, should start looking and growing by, we should be able to double our revenues once that capacity comes on stream.
You said you're in the market to raise funds for expanding your capacity. What exactly do you mean? Is that equity raising, or are you trying to raise some debt?
It's a combination. So obviously we have internal accruals plus equity plus debt. So right now those discussions are still on. But we will be, looking to grow our capacity, for which we do need external sources of funding as well.
All right, before we let you go, Shreevar, one last question. Are you the only player in India who makes this kind of glass, or are there any other listed players as well?
No, we are the only player today, because of the dumping from China, nobody else has actually entered the market. So we are the only player today. And so we are listed or non-listed, we are the only player.
All right, Shreevar, thanks so much for joining and stopping by and, in fact, giving us clarity. So there it is, in fact, the management telling us of Gujarat Borosil.